my daughter told me my friend's good. She's lesbian. I said, oh, no, that's great. Yeah, it's all good. No, I mean, oh, no, I didn't tell you. Yeah.
Are we good? All right. All right. Hey, everybody. Hey, welcome, everybody. Give me a thumbs up. You can hear me okay out there? We're good to go. Okay, great. Hey, happy Tuesday, everybody. We're ready to roll. Couple announcements first. I'm here in Kent. I've got the ladies in the front row here. Hopefully you can hear Becky when maybe she has a few things to say. But first, what I want to tell you all, thank you so much. There's been a burst of registrations coming in for Run for Recovery. Yay. Let's keep it up. It really helps us that you get registered right away because it's going to help us. Our deadline to order t-shirts is coming up next week. So we're going to we're going to guesstimate for all the people that aren't registered yet. But the more of you that get registered, it's really super helpful. Shirts are going to be, the sizes are first come, first serve when you get there. So we just kind of guesstimate based on kind of last year and the numbers that have already rolled in and whatnot. So you'll be good to go, even if you're still kind of forming your teams and you're a little late. But we just ask if you can get registered now, go ahead and do it. Get registered, rally your teams. It's going to be a great event. Saturday, May 13th, that's Mother's Day weekend at Robner Park, the same place as it's always been. It's our 4th annual Run for Recovery, walk or run. It's up to you. And it's going to be a great community event too. So we've got vendors coming, we've got live music again. It's going to be a great event. And we have ordered sunshine, and we are very confident this year that we're going to get a really nice day. People are still rolling in, yay. We're going to have a really nice day so we can hang out in the park afterwards, have a picnic, have some food, and just have some connection time with the community. I want to give a big shout out to our sponsors so far. Our sponsors so far are Geico. They're sponsoring us again this year. Last year they came out, they sponsored our water, plus they were a sponsor. They are sponsors again. They actually, I think, doubled their donation this year to us, which was really, they tripled it. Oh, they tripled it. So that was really cool. We've also got Washington Cedar Supply. You all heard from Mitra out there last week. And I want to say thank you, Mitra, because just you sharing with everybody actually nudge somebody else in the same industry to talk to their boss. And we got another sponsor right after that from Camco. Mr. Dave Komar talked to his boss, and they're sponsoring us as well. So all it takes is just to reach out to your boss, reach out to your organization, or maybe you're good friends with someone who works at an organization. All it takes is just reaching out to them and sharing what Battlefield it has done for you, and asking them to help sponsor us. So we need more sponsors. So thank you so much for helping to spread the word. If you need help from me or Becky, you can reach out to either of us. If you need the sponsorship form, if you need words in an email, anything, we can help you with all that. Or you can just go on our website and find it all. If you're real tech savvy, you can find it all on our website, battlefieldaddiction.com, events, Run for Recovery, our sponsorship levels are on there, registrations on there, everything is on there. But if you are not tech savvy, or you just would prefer someone to do it for you, we can get you registered. So Becky at battlefieldaddiction.com. Or Angie at battlefieldaddiction.com. You can reach out to either of us and we will help you. So, one more thing on Run for Recovery is our little postcards. Thank you for all of you getting them out. We just did a rush order today of more posters because all y'all have really gotten them out there. And so we just put another rush order in. They're going to arrive next week. So we're getting a whole bulk of like 100 of them. So we could really use help getting them out there. So Becky, they're shipping to Becky. They will arrive about next Tuesday-ish. And so if you need posters, if you have somewhere to hang them in the local area, we could really use your help getting them out there. So thank you for that. And Becky, what do you got?
Yeah, and if you let me know, I can either drop off posters to you, or I can leave some here at Rebuild Recovery for you, or maybe at Orion Industries where we do our live in person.
Yeah,
Can you
here.
hear me?
Oh, just a little bit louder.
Oh, okay. Where do I start now? Yeah, as far as if you need posters, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
You can? Okay. So if you need posters, contact me. I can either get them to you directly, or I can leave some here for you at Rebuild Recovery, or at Orion Industries, where we do our live in person. I'm trying to think if there's anywhere else. We'll start there. Anyway.
Speaking of live in person, tell them where that's at and Mom's birthday.
Live in person. We're going to do, live in person, Orion Industries. That's going to be May
16th.
Put that on your calendars. It's going to be big. Tuesday, May 16th. It's going to be our first live one in 2 months. And our first one with our Angie both back from Vegas. So that's going to be fun. We're going to have a party. And then Mom's Group is tomorrow, 11 a.m. on Zoom. We call ourselves the Mom Mothers of Adamville. And that's what we call ourselves. Anyway, join us on Zoom tomorrow. And if you want to leave, then you can message me or Angie. You can find people on Facebook.
Yes, join.
Well, MILF's a battlefield.
All right. So with that, let's move it on over. Now, if you're new tonight, let me introduce you to Mr. Kyle Munkers. Let's get the camera on him first so you can see him. Mr. Kyle Munkers, he is a manager over here at Rebuild Recovery, and but he also brings us our comedy. So he is here to bring Kyle's corny comedy corner. So take it away, Kyle.
All right. Everyone can hear me fine? All right. Do we have the Vegas house unmuted?
Let's get him unmuted. Hey, Mason, can you unmute over there?
I got to hear their
Sounds like he needs some
laughter.
Vegas participation.
Yeah, I want some laughter.
Okay. We need some laughter over there from Vegas. Get ready.
I like the way Ryan laughs.
All
right.
Can you hear us? Can you hear me, Kyle?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
All right.
You guys got an echo where you're at, though. You guys are echoing. You guys got too many mics on or too many things going.
Are they still both on?
No, that's better.
Okay.
Okay. It was Angie. No. All right. Well, speaking of MILFs, I would like to give a big thank you to Renee Sorry for coming over last Wednesday to do some yoga with the house. She's going to be doing it from now on every Wednesday. We also did a really good dinner afterwards. So thank you, Renee. I myself personally don't participate in yoga, but I have a great time watching her do the stretches. Lay down. Go. Lay down. All right. Speaking of yoga instructor, what did the yoga instructor say when she was getting evicted? Namaste. Earlier, I knocked over my bookcase. I realized I only have my shelf to blame. This one's really good. Went to a restaurant. They had this giant sign that said $2 lobster tail. So I gave him my $2. The guy came over to me and said, "Once upon a time, there was a lobster."
A lobster tail.
A dung beetle walks into a bar, says, "Hey, is that stool taken?" I once had a cat named Minton. One time it ate my birdie. Badminton. You know, with early recovery, especially with opiates, there happens to be a lot of constipation, especially here at the house. So the other day I bought a very expensive bottle of laxatives. Well, let me say, it's given us a run for our money. The toilet's been plunged a lot lately. True story. About a week ago or so, Janet had a birthday party at the Tokyo Steakhouse. We all went to it. Afterwards, the waitress came up to us and said, "Well, how'd you guys find your meal?" And I said, well, it was just on my plate. I think I'm a pretty nice guy. I give, lately I've been giving 50% of my income to charity. When she's not working, I give it to Portia. Last one. Why did the trans man only eat salad? Because he was a herbivore.
A herbivore. Oh. All right. Where'd Ange go? What's happening over there?
I was moving the camera because it's screwed up.
Oh,
TV there. Are we good to see?
Yeah, we can see.
Am I good?
Yeah, you're good.
how's my sound?
That's good.
Perfect.
All right. Well, down here in the laboratory, it feels like that a lot of my life. I live in a lab, with both the family pressure and the pressure of the people here, but not much. But today, I asked Kendall to give me about an hour ago. I asked her to give me a topic tonight, and she said acceptance. So that prompted me to begin to think about it, and this leads me to the heart of the matter. And I think what we're doing here is connecting families and connecting people together. But what people need to understand about a relationship, and when you learn about relationships, you learn that it's not, first of all, what is a relationship? And a relationship is this space between me and another person. But it's not just another person. It's the space between me and a person. And there's a third thing going on. And so I like with Angie or in my relationships, I never say that I'm just with a person. I'm with a person, and I'm also with the person's insecurities. So what we're learning, what we've learned is that, you're not just dealing with one thing. You're dealing with this person and their non-acceptance. And so so if we're going to talk about acceptance, and I think acceptance is misleading, and I think that it's difficult for people because you're told to accept things. And then, there's the beautiful serenity prayer that says, accept the things I cannot change. And I think that that's where it gets sticky. And that's where I think it's a misconception about what acceptance really is. And I think that it gets sticky because how do I know? How do I know the things I cannot change? How do I know that? And if you look closer, you should find that none of that's true. That most of the time, there are things that we can do. There are things that we can change. And so when people talk about acceptance, I think that some people take it. The misconception is that I just have to accept the way everything is. And that's one of the misconceptions about acceptance. The other misconception I think about acceptance is that people tell us that we can just accept things that we can't. You can just, here's the answer. You should just accept it. And, I don't think that there's an exact process to do that. And so the way that I deal with acceptance and the understanding of it is that it's a state, that it's a body state and a mind state, that there is two different states. So if you're going to talk about acceptance, you have to talk about what's blocking us. You have to talk about what's holding us back. And what's really then to talk about, if you're going to talk about acceptance, what you really need to talk about is resistance. So the heart of the matter, what we're really all dealing with is, and ultimately this week we've been talking about responsibility, and I talked to him about responsibility about everything. Responsibility about things that happen in our life, responsibility about things that happened in our life, responsibility about things that are going to happen. And we talked about responsibility is the person or the party, the responsible party or the responsible person is the person that is going to require themselves to make adjustments when things aren't going their way. And so ultimately, that is one level of responsibility. But I think that there's a pinnacle of responsibility. I think that there is something higher than anything there is in the realm of responsibility. And that is, how can I be responsible for my resistance? What is that? What is it? What does it mean that I'm responsible for my resistance? And so if there's two different states, our bodies and our minds lie and live in these two different states. Sometimes during the day, our body and our mind is in a state of acceptance. We're at peace. We're fine. We're not sorry, a little distracting when the things come in. We're not we're okay. And then there's a different state. You know, one of the classic examples, I don't remember whether it was 2016 or 2017 when the Seattle Seahawks played the New England Patriots, but it was 2017. 2017, it was a Super Bowl, and we were all at the big house, and I had made a nice big fat bet on the New England Patriots, and everybody else was going for the Seahawks, and it was a bad day for most of the day. I spent most of that day in resistance from 3 o'clock on, you know. And what is resistance? It's when my body is tight, when I'm fearful, when I'm scared, when I'm protecting myself. So I spent that day fearful and scared that I was going to lose and protecting myself. And I spent the day in resistance. And with 1 second left in the game, the beautiful Seahawks came out and did me like the Seahawks normally do. And they threw an interception on the 1 yard line. And there's a picture that was taken at that exact moment. And I'm standing with my arms raised just like this. And you can see the resistance in the room. You can see everybody else. You can see their faces. You can see their bodies tighten. You can just see everyone like that. And you can see me, no resistance, total acceptance of what's just happened. Just Man, can you imagine these two different states, the state of Massachusetts, the state of Washington, one state being in this full-on resistance and the other state being on this full place of acceptance. So there's this two states that we are as human beings. It's not something we do to accept. It's not something that it's not, what state are we in? Most of the things that we don't accept in the world, we can change. Most of the things that we don't accept in our family, we can change. Most of the addict behavior that surrounds us that we'd like the addict to improve, or we'd like to improve each other, we can change all that stuff. We can do it. We can't do it from a state of resistance. So starting to understand that this two different states of either acceptance and resistance is not accepting the way the world is. It's accepting the way that I feel about the way the world is so that I can do something about it. So if my family is not the way I want it to be, I'm not saying that the answer to any of this is for you to accept that your family's never going to be that you want it, the way you want it to be. That's not the case. We're not sitting here suggesting that that's the answer to the problem. But the answer to the heart of the matter here is, what happens to you, and how does one go about the business of taking care of dealing and being responsible for their own resistance, and why is there resistance? So there's these two states, one acceptance and one resistance. And in this state of what causes, so now if you want to really practice a life of acceptance, you have to look deeply into the causes of resistance. You have to look at what causes me to be resistant. What causes my muscles to tighten? What causes my blood pressure to go up? What causes these things inside? And I have to look at them. See, and the bottom line, the root cause of our resistance is this fear. Fears and insecurities. We live fearful and insecure of the world. We can't accept. We can't open up our hearts. And we live in a place, and with each other. There's so much resistance in the families that we deal with. So insecure with each other. And ultimately, when a responsible party in that family begins to go, okay, I'm not upset because you're doing that. I'm upset because my body's in resistance, and I now need to look at these insecurities that are causing my body. So the actual growth thing, and I went through this process. I did years of this, and I still work on it. But see, it just understanding the two states of both of resistance and acceptance just opens the door to the work. That's all it does. If you do not understand the difference between your body and your state when you're either in resistance or acceptance, you haven't opened the door of love. You haven't even opened the door to gain the capacity to love other people. And you think you have, but you can't love and protect at the same time. So if you suggest, and everyone suggests, unconditional love and we love each other no matter what, stop. Stop and see that love is an actual thing, a state that I have to be in. And to attain it is tough. To attain a state where I can love, I have to be in acceptance. I cannot be in resistance around you. And if I'm in resistance around you, and I'm not taking responsibility for why, and I'm blaming you for why I feel resistance, then I must protect myself from you. And if I cannot protect and love at the same time, when I say I love you, it's a lie. See, nobody runs around and says, I protect myself from you about 95% of the time. And about 5% when we're together. There's about 4 or 5% of the day, maybe about a week or a year, that I don't protect myself from you. But I love you. I'm so in love with you. Let's kiss. You're in fear of each other. Your insecurities, them, their insecurities. Who am I talking to? Your insecurities, or am I talking to you? Am I talking to your heart, or am I talking to the protection around your heart? So starting to understand that if we want to connect as families, if we want to learn about acceptance, we have to start the process of working through our resistance. And to start the process of working through our resistance, we have to stop blaming. We have to be able to say, I'm tight and fearful of you because I'm insecure. I'm insecure of what you make me look like as a parent. I'm insecure what my parents make me look like as a kid. I'm insecure what my friends make me look like around my other friends. I'm insecure about everything. And we are. And when you begin to look, see, we miss the resistance in the body. We miss what's going on in our bodies. We never see it. We live in our minds. We do not live in our bodies. So when our body goes into resistance and tightens, our mind actually begins to then protect ourselves. So immediately our mind starts saying, you're the problem. You're the problem. That's the problem. That thing is the problem. It shouldn't be this way. It shouldn't be that way. And we miss it. And we do not get the opportunity for growth because we're not looking at the real problem. The real problem isn't that that's going on. The real problem is that I'm fearful that that's going on. That's the real problem. And so, and even if the real problem is that that's going on, I still need to handle it from a state of acceptance or I make mistakes. So the heart of the matter here for folks and our ability to connect has to do with the ability. Are we together protecting ourselves, closing our hearts, tightening our muscles, turning the other way, shaking our legs when we sit together, sitting with our arms closed in frustration with a tight body? Or are we looking at our body? Are we feeling it? Are we feeling which state we're in, whether we're in a state of resistance or whether we're in a state of acceptance? My muscles are loose, my heart is open, or my muscles are tight and my heart is closed. And so there's an ultimately responsible to not be upset, to not be fearful, the ultimate responsibility to say is, listen, love, I can't do from a state of resistance. I cannot love. We can all agree, and the world agrees, that this answer to the things is love. Okay, fine, but how do we get there? What do we do? How do I live in a state that has a capacity to love when my body needs to protect myself from you? When my mind needs to protect myself from you? When I constantly live scared of you? And in order to take this responsibility, you have to say this basic fact about yourself. I'm insecure. I have massive insecurities. We all do. We had to do an exercise when we did the Landmark Forum, and in the exercise, you had to stand in front of the audience. There's rows of seats, and the front row would go up, and then you have to, for 2 minutes, you had to just look into the crowd and make eye contact with people. And that was the first part. So you stood up in front and you went around and you made eye contact with all the people in the rows, and very uncomfortable, very, very resistant, very difficult. And then the next thing that happens is they bring the next row after your row up, and there's an equal amount of people, and you stand 6 inches away from this perfect stranger's face. And you have to stand there and stare into the eyes of this perfect stranger's face. Now, some people wince, some people laugh, some people cry. All states of emotions are happening. But what thing is happening is that ultimately it's so awkward. There's so much resistance. And at some point, you begin to, it really happens because you're staring there for so many minutes. At some point, the resistance goes away. At some point, the resistance dissipates. And all of a sudden, you're left staring at this other human being, and the fears are gone, the insecurities are gone, and you find yourself whether it's a guy or girl, falling in love with this person. You just feel complete love. And it's an amazing thing once we get to this ability to get out of a state of resistance. Just walk into anywhere and feel your resistance. Feel what it's like, talking to people. Feel what it's like when you're texting somebody that you're insecure about, and they're hitting your insecurities, and how just you can look at people texting and see if they're in resistance or acceptance. You can see by how fast their fingers type to the other person. You can see whether it's an absolute war and the person's insecure. Or you can see if they're in acceptance and they're happy, and you can just look and you can see. And we need to, if you can get to the place where you start understanding that your resistance causes resistance. So your fear, just like with a dog or with anything else, our fears cause fear. So because we're not dealing with this problem of our fears causing fears and our resentments causing resentments, we're getting worse. Because, see, I blame you and you blame me. And we get tighter around each other. We get more blamey, and we get more. And as a relationship goes, that 2 people aren't responsible for their insecurities, it will end in divorce. It'll get to a place where I can't be around you anymore, and it's your fault. And that's when we have 2 people that are not taking responsibility. Are you in a state of love and acceptance, or are you in a state of resistance? And then if I don't want to be in a state of resistance, but I do want to make improvements in the lives of other people, and I want to make changes in my life, you have to do it from love. You have to do it from this place of acceptance. That doesn't mean that you say, now I accept that you're up in your room shooting heroin. It means before I say, hey, I don't want you up in your room shooting heroin, let me see let me see if I'm tight. Let me see if I'm in resistance. Let me see if I'm coming from anger. Let me see where it's coming from before I'm speaking. So the heart of the matter, when it deals, people will let you read about acceptance, and I've seen the topic in so many different forms. In the Big Book of Alcoholics Anonymous says acceptance is the answer to all of our problems, and it sounds real cliche, and it sounds real neat, and it sounds real awesome, and I can get behind that acceptance is the answer. But how? And you can sit there and say the serenity prayer 1,000 times and say, I accept what I cannot change. No, you don't. No, you don't. And until you've gotten to a place where you understand the insecurities that are driving you, you want to get to know yourself? So everyone, I'm going to get to know myself. You don't know your insecurities. And if you don't know your insecurities, you don't know shit about yourself. You know nothing. I'm going to find myself. Find your insecurities. I'm going to do self-care. Well, what is it? If it isn't a reduction of our insecurities, then what would self-care be? And a reduction of our insecurities by taking responsibility for my tightness in my body, for my blood pressure. By doing this, I now take responsibility for being able to love. I take responsibility for being able to make the changes and the improvements from people that I want. And I do. That's how we get to know ourselves. That's how we evolve. If we're not evolving through less and less insecurities, then how did you evolve? You just got enlightened? You just what? The question is, do you get upset less or more? And if the answer is I still get upset the same amount that I've always got upset, then please don't talk to me about growth. Because that's the whole deal. That's the measurement. My measurement is my ability to sit with another person, debate topics, connect, disagree, and not get tight and insecure and say mean shit. Not get tight and insecure and bring up the past. Not get tight and insecure. And believe me, after 11 years of doing this work, my body fluctuates still all day. Tight, insecure. I play poker, and I play poker as a practice. I play poker because it lets me do all the things that I'm talking to you about and gives me this training ground. And if you've ever played poker and you know what it's like, and that other person is the tightness in your body when your money is flowing the other direction into this guy that's just won this pot, and he just got real lucky, and your body just got real tight, and it just got real annoyed. And then your mind starts trying to blame, and then you sink. And you take that pain and you sit there and you don't say anything, because if you say anything, you're going to say something stupid to them. You're going to say something you don't want to say. You're going to blame. You're going to be whiny. You're going to be there. So the practice of sitting there, and 5 times I sit there, and then 5 times I act like a dick. And it's debatable which one I'm going to do. I never know. But I do understand one thing. When I act like a dick, it's because I'm insecure. It's not because of what they did. It's not because of anything else. It's because I'm insecure. And I know that as a purest fact about responsibility that there is. That when just all the times that you've ever said anything to someone that you didn't want to say, that you said something you regret, that you said something stupid, every single time it was spawned from this place of insecurity. It was spawned from this place of tightness, this resistance. So dealing with all of our resistance, people driving up to traffic and seeing the line is backed up, and then punching their steering wheel and going, motherfucker, I'm going to be late. Resistance. All the forms of resistance, from ultimate frustration and anger and hatred, all the way down to just a little bit annoyed. All the whole spectrum, and the resistance on us, no matter what, a little bit annoyed is just as damaging as hatred, because your heart is still closed when you're a little bit annoyed. If you ever love something, you've never been annoyed by it. It doesn't annoy you. I like when people say, I love you, but here, let me tell you what's not right about you. Let me tell you what annoys me about you. Have you ever loved ice cream and then wrote a paragraph about how that ice cream needs to improve? I don't think so, because that ain't love. And we're really, really dicey right now. We love each other. We're really, really dicey about, yes, I love you, but here's every goddamn way you piss me off. Here's every way that you annoy me. Here's why you're the problem. I love you. That's not it. coming up with this place where I could get to a place. See, I had to. For me, it wasn't about. I never got this idea that oh man, I want to help these kids, and and I gotta be loving, and I'm gonna work this practice to be so caring and loving, and then I'm just gonna be this saint that oh man, I'm just gonna attract and love, and I never had that idea in my head. What I had in my head was, one, I got a job of helping these kids that I've kind of formatted and got as an entrepreneur, got kind of brought into my life, that these kind of drug addicts would be around me and that they'd be trying to recover. First, I got that. Second thing I got was anger, hatred, resistance, frustration. I got that next. And I got a heavy dose of it all day, to the point where I was burning up from resistance. I was burning up from people not paying, from people stealing my money, from people using drugs in the house, from people outright lying to me. 35 on one. You guys think you had a drug addict at your house? The big house, we went 35 on. I went 35 on one. 35 drug addicts, all lying, all stealing, all staying up too late, all not making their bed, all doing everything that you've ever thought about that pissed you off about your addict. They're all doing it 35 on one. And I had two options: take responsibility for my resistance and my own hatred and my anger, and look at why I'm so insecure and why this is causing this inside of me and what it meant. You see, what it used to mean to me, these kids used to mean to me, was my glory. That's what it used to mean to me. So if they're behaving poorly, they're blocking my reputation. They're blocking my glory. They're ruining me. If you behave poorly, you're not getting with it. Nobody's going to know I'm a hero if you keep behaving poorly. So there's where a big cause of resistance was. And starting to understand that about myself, and understand that I have to get rid of this resistance, because their bad behavior can mean nothing to me. It has nothing to do with me, how they turn out. It's them. And I can either work from a place of love and acceptance of them and stand beside them for the best, or I can burn up. And if I didn't take responsibility, burn up at the hatred, burn up at the anger, burn up at the worry, burn up from the panic. And so I didn't have an option. It wasn't like I set out for this, but I got to a place where I knew that if I didn't every day, all day, feel my body's resistance, and I had to start in the body, I had to go directly to the body. And that was taught to be my Michael Singer. And he said it's all in the body. It's in our pain body, it's in our muscles, it's in our parents, and all of it sits in here. And so I must be able to feel it when it comes in. When I change that moment, I go from this acceptance to resistance. I need to feel that moment. And I feel the words that caused it. I need to feel the situation that caused it. I need to breathe. I need to try to loosen my muscles. And then I need to figure it out. Figure out what's up with this contingency. Why is their behavior, why is this causing this in me? Why is this making me feel tight? Why is it making me feel insecure? What am I fearful of? And for the most part, I would go back and almost every time realized it was reputational. That is always, what were people going to think? What were people going to think of me if you treat me like this? What are people going to think of me if you behave like this? So it was always boiled down to something about, what are people going to think about me? Because see, if you were behaving that way, and then I knew that you could say anything you wanted to say to me, you could tell me about myself. But see, if I knew that you were going to get hit by a bus when you walked outside and died, I wouldn't care what you said. Just wouldn't care. You're going to get hit by a bus. But if I think you're going to take what you're saying to me and what you think about me, and you're going to go spread it to the masses, you're going to tell everyone what a low-life piece of shit I am, or you're going to tell everyone bad things about me. Now I'm very insecure. I'm very insecure of what you're doing. So just with the topic of acceptance, and Kendall asking me to do that topic, you see the depths of what it is that we're really doing here. A family getting together one by one, each person taking responsibility for the fact that they resist each other, taking responsibility for the fact that I'm in resistance, taking this response, and that resistance is caused by my insecurities. And I don't understand yet, because I haven't worked through this process, why you're making me feel insecure about myself. But when I look closer, I'll see we are connected. And I'm insecure because of the way you make me look to the rest of the world. And most of it will always boil. You can say, well, I'm insecure because I'm fearful they're going to die. And that might be true. That might be true. So, still dealing today with resistance. What happens to me nowadays is that I'm not in an active, it's like I'm not working out every day, but because I don't have as much resistance to work through that I used to have. But now I don't look out for it, and it just shows up. And when it shows up, the resistance shows up. Sometimes it catches me off guard, then it catches me off guard, and then I regret what I say after, and I regret what I did. And that's why, as we go through this process, it's important to continue to put yourself in situations that cause resistance, because that's how we grow. Because if we can get rid of the resistance, we're getting rid of the insecurities. We're taking responsibility for them, and we begin to grow. And what a beautiful thing for families to do together. So I hope you understand why I believe that this is the heart of the matter. That a human being looking at the two states that they could be in, one being acceptance and one being resistance, and seeing all the good that can come from working from acceptance, all the changes you can make, all the good things you can say to people, all the inspiration, all the stuff that you can help people improve upon in your life. That when you're not in resistance and you're in this acceptance, and you tell somebody something about themselves, they don't get defensive. They stay open. And because you're open and you're not in resistance, you can say, another way we used to, in the box, out of the box. So when we're going to people and we immediately find them getting defensive, it's like, please understand that they're doing that because they sense your resistance. They sense your resistance. They see it, they know. And they know that you're trying to change them because of your resistance. They know. You're just trying to change me because I annoy you. You're just trying to change me because you're mad. You're just trying to change me. And they know. But there can be a different state, a place where we can improve and change other people without this resistance. And we can do it with an open heart. We don't have to accept the way the world is. That's crazy. And we don't have to try to figure out what we can change and what we can't change, because you're never going to figure that out. As you get more powerful, you can change more things. You'll see. If you're not powerful, you will not be able to change any human around you, and you can just go on and cop out and say, well, I can't change anyone around me. I can only control my behavior. That's bullshit. I can absolutely change the behavior of the people around me. Absolutely. And I do it from me behaving better. Every time I can do it. So the nonsense about we can't change other people, and we can't change the way that people treat us or what people say to us and all that kind of stuff, that's all nonsense. Pop out. When we don't live in resistance, when we live with an open heart, people will change around us. People will behave better. People won't defend themselves against us. So we can open up for questions. But I think, this I love you thing, and people just saying I love you, and I see it all the time, just people together How do you love me? How? I love you. How? Because love seems to me like an action. And I don't believe it anymore. I love you. No, I'm scared of you. I protect myself from you. That's what I do. Because I'm insecure. When I do not love you, because love is an action, and I cannot do it from this state of insecurity that I live in. I cannot do it from this heightened alert system that I have to have when I'm speaking to you. I cannot love you because when I talk to you, I'm worried about what I got to say. I'm worried about what if I say something wrong. I'm worried about us getting in a war. And then I'm just going to say I love you because you know what? It somehow seems like it's going to give me some power with you. And we start using love as like a power technique. Here, I'm about to tell you why you need to change, but first I'm going to preface it by saying I love you deeply. That's such bullshit. I love you so much, but here, let me tell you why I don't love you so much. Let me tell you. If anyone said that to you, hey, honey, I love you. I think you're the perfect bride, but here's 10 things that you could work on. Would you believe they loved you? So I think taking it serious and just not giving us the credit as human beings for being this all-loving thing all the time. And saying we're not. We're fearful animals. We're protecting ourselves. We're scared. We're in resistance. We're not loving. We aren't. We're angry. To get me to a state of love takes a lot. It's rare. It's like a pinnacle. It's like, shit. Oh, I'm not worried about my cable bill. I paid my car payment. Oh, God, people aren't saying mean things about me. Okay, briefly for a minute, I love you. Because right now, I'm not so selfish that I'm concerned with myself, my insecurities. So the pinnacle of my day, I've got 5 minutes where, and you wonder why people do drugs. You sit with someone and take a shot of heroin. Love. Now we love each other. Do a line of coke with your friend that you were protecting yourself from. You won't shut up. Have 2 drinks with people. Go to a wedding. Find the love before the booze hits. Oh yeah, there's a little bit at the ceremony if the best man comes up with a good speech or if the vows are good. But I'm talking about the reception. Go ahead and find the love before the booze hits. But see, the booze takes away the resistance. And everyone loves each other. Everyone's hugging. Everyone wants to dance. Yeah, because we needed a little booze. Loosen up. What are we loosening up for? The resistance. We're getting rid of our insecurities. We're loosening up. So now we don't have drugs to do it anymore. So what do? This is it. I got to pay attention to my body all day. Sucks. Bad news. I got to be responsible. To attain love is hard. It's not easy. Okay.
Am I safe to unmute?
Yeah.
So let's open it up. You all know what to do. Oh, good. We have a first up, Sherry Pennington. Let's get to, she's ready. All right. Hey, Sherry. And those others out there, go ahead and get in line. You can raise your hand like she did or unmute yourself, get my attention somehow, and you'll be next. Hey, Sherry.
Hey, so I think that the thing I was hoping maybe you could address is is how parents go from that state of kind of, like before times of fear and resistance and scare, all the stuff before our person gets healthy. Then when our person gets healthy, you're in that state of rebuilding that communication and relationship and getting out of resistance and fear and into that acceptance and open communication, things like that. Can you talk briefly about that and what that looks like? I think maybe on the other side, because I know I experienced when my son came home, it was a little bit of that, he felt better and I had to try and figure out how to flip that switch in trust and flip that switch in and kind of like, I had to figure out how to let go of it, right? Let go of the fear, let go of all the upsets that I had. So can you talk about that briefly?
Yeah, I think ultimately, first for a parent, I would say that it starts with, first of all, I have to admit this fact about myself as a parent, just like I had to admit this. And I think it's important, and if not mandatory, that parents see that the root cause, and I'm sorry if I piss people off and you can argue with me, but I think it's important that parents see that the root cause is the reputation as a parent. Yeah. Mm-hmm. That is very concerning, that when I'm dealing with my kid, I'm not just dealing with my kid, I'm dealing with the thoughts of what will people think of me as a parent? How is my track record as a parent? It's been no secret. We've had about almost 100% of parents say the same thing. They usually have 2 or 3 drug addicts. And when we ask them how their other kid is doing, they always, he's great. And they will tell us without us even asking them. They will go, well, our other kid, it's like if I roll up in a Pinto and then I go, well, my other car is a BMW. It's just at home in the garage, but it's really like that. And so it's fine. And I understand why people do it, because people want to go, well, look, this is very damaging to my reputation as a parent telling you all this. So I want to tell you something about how I've done good. And I think all of it's nonsense. I'm not saying you've done good or bad as a parent. Addiction it's not about that. Bad parenting I don't believe bad parenting would cause addiction. I think actually in America, bad parenting might cause the opposite. I think good parenting causes addiction in America right now. It means I provided everything for my kid. They felt they got entitled, and something like that. So to be honest, I think that to say that I don't love my kid because I'm too busy protecting my reputation around my kid would be a great opener for the parents. Be a great place to start. To start there would be great. Now, for a kid that's put his family in turmoil or put people in turmoil, and really, if they're truly recovering, then they see that as a fact. If a drug addict is truly recovering, then what they see as a fact is the damage that they've done. The damage in trust, the damage with the insecurities, the damage with their behavior. They truly see that if they're in recovery. And if they see that, then they have a job. Their job is to secure their parents. Their job is to go above and beyond and go, here's a UA I'm not using. And to see that if they're getting pissed off when they're asked if they're using drugs, that's probably because they're using drugs. Just simple. So the work is 360 degrees, and it's every person. And, that's why we do it joint. That's why we have drug addicts here and we have family members here, because everyone's got to do the work. We're all part of this protection. We're all part of closing our hearts on each other. And for parents, it's a good cause. Of course you have to protect yourself. It's a very fearful thing that's going on. It's extremely fearful. It's crazy. So you're dealing with insane stuff that scares the shit out of you. So starting from a place of honesty and saying, yes, I am insecure. Yes, I'm too insecure. I protect myself from my own kid. I worry about my reputation. I worry about them dying and what that would make me look like as a parent if they died. I wonder how I would be. I'm worried about all of it. And that is driving my behavior. That's the catalyst. And so until I get rid of that, I'm going to be driven by my fears and insecurities. I'm going to be doing things like enabling. I'm going to be doing things like saving. I'm going to be doing things like yelling one moment and being angry and upset. And then the next moment being apologetic. You know, sorry, I yelled at you. Here's some money for drugs. And we've all done it. You know, I don't want to make you feel bad anymore. So, good question though, Sherry. And I think that, you know, you guys, that's the zone, the recovery zone, where you get in this zone and all of a sudden the barriers to your heart start dropping a little bit again.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I think helped me a little bit, and I by no means have it nailed, right, is having that honest conversation with my person and saying, look, you know, you're human, I'm human. We're going to have to figure this out, how to do this together, and know that I'm going to screw up and I'm going to say the wrong thing, but it's going to be okay. But, you know, here's the stuff that scares the shit out of me, you know? And I think, you know, because of that, we were kind of able to get to a little bit of an honest place of, you know, where he was able to then open up too and say, it's like, hey, look, this makes me feel, you know, like you don't trust me when you do this. I'm like, well, okay, well, don't do that. And, you know, and you kind of like work through those each of us doing little teeny baby steps to maybe get to that right place. But I think maybe that's something for the people who are getting healthy right now, is that this shit's hard as a parent too, for, you know, for everybody to kind of hear that. It's like, from a parent's perspective, it's scary and hard, you know? So if we can ask for a little bit of grace too, we kind of all get through it together, you know?
It's beautiful. It's here to teach us. It's here to teach us about this. It's here to teach us about how our heart closes, our heart opens. And it's here to teach us about how to keep an open heart. That's what it's for. It's saying, listen, can you imagine the day when you held your 2-month-old baby? You know, and you held that baby and all you felt was love and the action of love, and you had no insecurities, maybe a little bit of worry about their health, but you just held the baby and you were ultimately in love with that baby. And then how systematically the walls start to be going up after. And as they get older and older, you protect yourself more because it's more about how they're turning out. It's more about how your reputation is affected. It's more about what it looks like as, you know, as a parent. My kid does this. I'm not insecure about my son wanting to be a ballerina. I'm insecure about what it would look like if my son was a ballerina. How does it make me look? And so now I can't love my kid because he wants to be a ballerina. And it has to do with me, not them. And on and on and on. And we can nonsensically say, no, I love all the time. And I'm, no. You can say that, but there's no value in it. There's no growth. The growth comes when you say, no. I don't love all the time. I'm filled with hatred and anger, worry and panic and insecurities and fears. There's Renee.
Hi. All right, just going on what you just said, I do have another question, but just going on what you just said, it's funny because it's kind of like, I find that funny in life, like whatever your challenges are, you're faced with them daily. So like, I'm kind of organized OCD, and then maybe my kid's not. So it's like, you know, yeah, it's just life, you know?
It's like God knew. It's like God went here.
And he has a great sense of humor too, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Anyway, so my question to you is, so we were on Mom's Group last week, and a great question came up by I don't remember who it was who asked it, but I remember when my kid was kind of newer in recovery, and I was always curious to know like their perspective on their journey. So like you hear us talking and we question everything, but we never hear on the solution groups. I know this is not normally the format, but we don't hear any of them talking or sharing their struggles, or like Kendall did last week. And I thought that was just so amazing. Is it possible that one of these solution groups, we could do that instead? So like just be more like an observer of, and then maybe having the clients share so that the parents can kind of see what's going on in your process. Is that possible or not?
Of course.
I really wanted that, when early on with my son, and when someone brought that up last week, I just thought, you know what? I think it would be so healing.
Well, I think that they need to share. We're encouraging right now all the older clients, all the clients that have been around, to do two things, which is, one, get over to group and share their experience with the clients that are just starting out.
Yeah.
And two, we're trying to encourage, but believe me, your kids are resistant to getting over there and doing that. And then getting it over and helping others. So that's their stage of their journey that they should be on. They've gotten out of the fire, hopefully all the way out of the fire, and now they're reaching back and grabbing somebody else and pulling them along. And I think that they should be able to share about that. Yes.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things about Battlefield that I love so much, as opposed to anything else that I inquired. It was like everything's top secret, you got the HIPAA or whatever. But this way, I feel like if we can all sit around the table and be very honest about where we're at and where we've been and where we hope to go, I feel like by sharing those experiences like we do in the mob, we heal so much more,
Yeah, I think we're the opposite of anonymity, whatever that is.
Yeah, that's crazy shit.
Whatever anonymity is, we're the exact opposite. We say everything about everybody. We always say everything.
I just feel like it's healing, but it's particularly the kids that are, and I call you guys kids, I don't mean to call you kids, but the people that are in the program right now in the house, and the struggles they're going through, and the frustrations they have with whatever, their family or whatever. Like if we could have them share it, I would love that, because I feel like it'd be so healing.
Their frustrations seem to be with each other, but
yeah. Okay, I'll be down there for some yoga then. And hey, all the guys doing yoga tomorrow, drink some water so you don't cramp up again, okay?
Yoga. Okay. Good questions. Good questions. We can't hear you, Ange.
What time's yoga tomorrow? Maybe it'll be before my flight.
I think we'll probably, I'll be there around 3. So by the time we usually like prep the dinner, and then we have a yoga class, and then we get the last minute details of the dinner ready, and we sit down and have a meal. I'm going to tell you guys, oh my gosh, that yoga thing, I think I got more out of it than anybody else there. So to all the people in the house that like really,
I don't seem to get a lot out of it.
He wasn't even there. I'm gonna say Lucas was in the kitchen with me from the get-go. So Lucas, you're awesome. And then whoever else wants to learn, like this is all it's about. I get to know people, and we just sit around and chat and enjoy each other. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. So 3:00 we show up, and then I think tomorrow we'll probably be doing yoga around 4. I'm guessing.
I love it. I love it.
I had Lucas take picture for me.
Oh, Kyle.
Hey. Oh, thanks, Renee. All right. Hey, Chris.
Hey, you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, this is definitely something I'm dealing with right now. Acceptance. I'm in the ER again. So.
I heard you tried to ride a motorcycle.
Yep, I was riding a motorcycle. And I learned how to ride a motorcycle when I was like 7. So
sure.
This is nothing. I don't know. This is just crazy. I wasn't doing anything like crazy or anything. It just fucking snapped.
Wow.
Yep.
Did you have surgery?
What's that?
Do you have to have surgery?
Yeah. It's a tib. Is a spiral fracture in my tibia. They put a rod in there. So,
Sure,
now I got
man, you
more.
hang around.
Everybody's cringing in this room.
Yeah, I
If
got
you're
more
a man, you hang
metal in
around,
me than the Terminator.
Yeah.
If you're a man and you hang around Cam Stampilia, you break legs, man. She might,
Yeah, it happens.
Everyone's breaking legs around. You guys are all coming up lame. You got to shoot them, Pam. They're no good no more. Just get rid of them.
My biggest fear is that he's taken a step back, because what do they do when you go in there and you have surgery? They put you on pain medication.
Yep.
So now we got to go through the process of getting him back off of it and getting him back on Suboxone where he was at. And it's just like this vicious cycle.
Yeah.
How do you deal with that?
You should have, man. You should have.
Easy answer.
Yeah.
Big stick.
A big stick, yeah.
Yeah. Put them out of their misery.
Yeah.
Go to the casino. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to take off here in a couple weeks. They're on their own.
There you go. That's how you deal
I
with it.
need a vacation.
Yeah, that's how you deal with it. Yeah, that's good.
That's funny.
Nice to see you guys. I'm glad you're okay, Dave. I seen you walking. I'm glad you're
Yeah.
walking.
He's doing better. And Chris will
We're
get
getting
there too. He's actually, their PT's coming in. He's not actually in ER. He's actually in Valley Medical Center. He's in a hospital room.
Did he get his old bed back, or did they put him somewhere else?
Well, he was at Harborview. Now he's
Oh.
at Valley. Thank God we only have to go to Valley and not clear up to
Well,
Seattle.
Okay, Chris, which one's better, Valley or Harborview?
I don't know. The food's pretty good at either one of them. The people I think are a little bit, I don't know, if they're just not, the nurses and stuff are kind of, slacking, but it's okay.
You got any good-looking nurses?
Yeah, they're all black, so not really.
Whoa, Chris. Oh, racist. Jeez.
From black. Oh, wow, Chris.
There's a lot of beautiful black women, Chris.
There is, just not these ones.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, we'll
Well, thank
excuse
you,
the
Art.
racism. We'll excuse the racism because you're going through something traumatic, Chris. But after this, you got to get back on the politically correct side here, because you're going to get canceled, Chris. You're going to lose your
Membership.
yeah. You're going to lose your. Okay.
Get it together, Chris.
I'm trying.
What a beautiful night. All right.
Anybody else out there? We
We got any more real
15 minutes
questions?
left. Anybody else out there? Any questions? Any comments? We've got time.
You want me to text you the x-ray of the break?
We saw. You saw it. Somebody sent it to us.
Oh, okay.
Ouch.
Okay. Thank you, guys.
Yep.
Thanks, Art.
All right. Who's next?
I'll bring you a bacon, Chris, eventually.
I gotta keep muting myself, but anybody that has anything else, raise your hand or unmute yourself. Get my attention.
I think that part of the process of getting rid of these insecurities is stating that we have them. And, I found fear that, it boiled down to a few categories for me. whenever I was feeling tight and insecure, I could always trace it back to money, financial situation. I could trace it back to reputation and how I'm looking, how people see me in the world. I could trace it back to health, and I could trace it back to stuff, property. Somebody just took my pencil. What's next? My wife. It's always something. If I give this person too many cigarettes, then I'm gonna give away all my money or my cigarettes or whatever that people are insecure about. But I did, and I would classify it. I would look at the insecurity and I'd put it into one of those three places. Am I insecure here about my reputation? Am I insecure about health of my loved ones? Am I insecure here about property? Am I insecure about just my reputation? So as you see, it was easy for me to trace it back, and I could sit there and I go, that's why I got upset. It was real easy. I got upset because I'm insecure about my reputation, my health, my money, my property, whatever it is. And I'm always protecting myself from somebody, from the world trying to take those things from me. Everyone's trying to take my money. Everyone's trying to take my time. Everyone's trying to ruin my reputation. Everyone's talking about me. Everyone's doing this or that. So it was clear. It was very clear that that's the work for me. Still is. Well, I'd like to close up if we don't have any more questions. Anyone can't got any questions over there? Anyone can't got anything they want to share about their journey? Yeah, because it was pretty full over there. They're all making money. They're winning money at the casino sometimes. They win.
Lucas has something. We're just trying to get the mics.
Okay.
I just wanted to say that this is a good topic. It really was good to hear this tonight.
Yeah. When we can boil it down to the bare thing here, that when I'm in resistance, my life sucks, my life is difficult, my heart is closed, and that when I'm living in this state of acceptance, my muscles are light, there's no tension, and when I'm living in that state, all good comes. All good comes out of this state. My relationship comes out of this state. Love comes out of this state. I meet people in this state. People like me when I'm in this state. And all good comes from this state of acceptance. And so the work is simple. I have to stay there. I have to stay there. That's all I have to be responsible for. I have to be responsible for being in this state of acceptance. And in order to do so, I have to look at what's taking me out of that state. And I have to examine that so I can get to know myself. I have to get to know this tunnel, this little portal that takes me from a good person that says nice things, that cares about people, that's loving, to mean, protective, snappy, frustrated, arrogant. And I have to get to know what that transition looks like and how I go from that person to that person. How I go from open to protection. And there's the work. There's the way you measure it. And if you can look at your last week and say, man, I've been in a state of acceptance about life and the people around me, and I've been open for a week, that is going to be a great week. And if you look at your life and you say, I've been disgruntled and frustrated and angry and snappy and annoyed, and if you can look at that and go, therefore, I must do some more work on myself. I must do some more work on my insecurities. I got to pay attention to my practice, because if I don't, then I'm just going to be blaming everyone else around me. And I'm just going to be, and now I'm just contingent. My happiness and my state of my body and my muscles are contingent upon the world around me, the people I live with, the coworkers I have. Now I'm living in this contingency where they have to all behave in a certain manner, or I get frustrated and angry, and that's crazy. And so when we get out of that insanity and go, okay, well, ultimately, I just don't want my muscles to tighten. Ultimately, I don't like it when my blood pressure's high. Ultimately, I don't like saying mean things to people. I don't like snapping at folks. You know, I don't like when I talk from a place of resistance and I scare people. A lot of times people used to tell me that I'm angry, and it would, in my mind, it was passion. I was very passionate about me telling you how stupid you are. You know, and I need, you know, I had passion behind it. I'm not angry at you, stupid. I'm just passionate about telling you how stupid you are. Oh, they say, why are you angry? I'm not angry. Oh, and then in your resistance, you're in resistance, and somebody says, and they know you're in resistance, they go, you need to calm down. Oh, the one way to make sure somebody doesn't calm down is to tell them they need to calm down. They will not calm down when you say it. Sometimes I tell Barkley to calm down. Barkley, calm down.
Yeah, I just need her to be able to hear me. I want to answer that question before you close up, Art.
Okay, what question?
Sorry, I didn't want to interrupt you, but I wanted to have a moment before you say bye.
Okay, go ahead.
Oh, so Eileen just asked about the t-shirt deadline. So for Run for Recovery, so this year it's different than other years. You don't pre-pick your sizes. There's going to be plenty of sizes to choose from. So first come, first serve basis. There's going to be plenty of sizes to choose from when we get there. We've really simplified things this year to make things, the Run for Recovery team, everything much smoother, since some of us are in Vegas, some of us are here. We had to really simplify. So you don't pre-pick your sizes. But we still have to get the order in. We have to get a pre-order in next week. I think it's the 12th. We need to estimate, and then we have a little bit of leeway to fine tune it. So the sooner you register on numbers, the better. So I just want to clarify that, Eileen. So it just for us to kind of pre-order and kind of have a standby estimation of t-shirts, we have to get to the printer next, I think it's Wednesday. But then we have a little bit of leeway, but I do want to clarify, because years past you pre-ordered your specific sizes, but that requires a lot of manpower for us to get the sizes, pull them out, label them, put people's names on, and figure out this and that. It's a lot of work, and it just wasn't something we could take on this year with the expansion and being different places. And so it's just going to be like, you know, there's going to be lots of sizes, lots to choose from. So when you get there at 9 a.m. to register, you say, I want a medium, I want a large, you just, you know, that kind of thing. So, but the sooner the better on registering, because it helps us kind of estimate. But the registration is going to be open up until the last minute. So we're going to have lots of extra sizes, and we've got shirts left over from last year too. So we're going to have plenty of shirts for everybody. But the sooner you can get registered, the better. And definitely the sooner you can reach out to your boss, your organization, your company to ask about a sponsorship, the better, because there is a deadline on getting people in print, their logos in print, because there's great benefits to being a sponsor. So like Mitras company already have their logo all set. They're going to be up in lights and all the different, you know, promotional items. They're set. So the sooner we can get those confirmed, the better. And thanks so much. Don't forget to register. Thank you. Thank you. And were you done, Art?
Oh yeah, I can close it out.
Some final words. Okay, so final words. Let me mute myself.
No, you know, I just hope that I laid it out for everyone. And I really just want you, encourage you, and it doesn't matter at what point, you know, if you lose it. It doesn't matter if you're on the stage. The only thing that matters is this honesty. And an honesty with yourself about, you know, which of these states that you're in, and then what is causing it. And if we can get really honest about these states and how productive I am when I work from an open heart, and how productive I am when I'm not protecting myself, the pathway seems a lot clearer. And I hope that you can see it. I truly believe that every family member together discussing their insecurities, discussing their fears, discussing why I get angry, discussing what causes this resistance, because I've done this investigation. I've went to this investigation place of, we had an argument, we had a situation with each other. I lost it now. In order for me to recoup, in order for me to come back to a place, I have to go to my private corner and I go, what got me so angry? And I got to put, and it can't be, I was angry because they did that. It has to be that deeper than that. It has to be, okay, well, I'm fearful of this. I'm fearful of events. I'm scared. One of the example, me and Angie we very rarely fought as business partners, but really early on, I was still insecure and not now, but very insecure back then, which would cause me to yell. And Angie wasn't the type of person that could be yelled at, and it was very few and far between. But I did yell at her, and we were on a phone conversation, and I yelled, and then she just hung up on me, and said, "You can't talk to me this way." And she hung up on me, and I had to sit in the car, and I'm still pissed. I'm still trying to figure out why, trying to get her to get the point. And I needed her to get the point, and there was a point. I just was coming from a place of protection, and I was coming from a place of anger, and she was not putting up what I was putting down. So eventually it led me to the place where I had to text her, and I said, I'm not upset. And I had to explain to her why I was fearful and insecure and why I got upset. And I said, so please just hear me out. And I would have to, and I had to get back to the place of an open heart, or she wouldn't take a call. And then she would take my call, and I would explain to her. And finally, we'd work and get to a point. And this happened about 3 different occasions. And there was always a point. And it was always a good point. They were really great life-changing points that caused us to go different directions than we were going to go. But she couldn't hear it from my closed heart. She couldn't hear it from me being upset, and it blocked her. So this is an example of what we're doing here, getting to a place where we can go back and go, listen, I just got to talk to you because I'm tight, I'm insecure, I'm scared, I'm worried about what it makes me look like as a parent, I'm worried about, and that's why I got so upset. And then all of a sudden there's a door opens and hearts are open, and you can do the work. So I hope you can see that this is the heart of the matter of connection. It's the heart of the matter of when I'm dealing with my insecurities, I'm not connecting. When my insecurities show up, I no longer connect. And so I must now be responsible for these insecurities and get to a place where I can connect with people without this blockade. So I hope it laid out perfectly, or laid out pretty good for you. And we'll see you all next week. And thank you for tuning in.
So good. Good night, everybody.
Thank you.